And it's like, and he's going to do something with it, by God.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, who among us hasn't had a terrible haircut and then just never cut their hair again?
Actually, funny that you say that. That is how I ended up shaving my head. It's because I
Look,
used to have hair down to my shoulders and I got it trimmed up and I looked odd. And I was
okay.
like, shave it. And I've been shaving my head ever since.
Now we must find the one picture in existence of veil with shoulder length, a bob.
I have several.
All right. Well, now that we've learned the dark reason that Vale is bald, we can go with the, I'm sure, not convoluted defense statement.
Thank you.
If you would, please.
Even the judge is like, how the hell are you going to go after that?
Got something I'd like to hear it.
Chandler Halderson did not murder his parents. He is not guilty of those crimes. Chandler Halderson is 23 years old, young man. He likes to play video games, play with his dogs, hang out with his girlfriend, and he lived peacefully in his parents' home.
Until he didn't, ma'am.
I was going to say. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You unalived them in a video game.
Oh my, oh, yeah, but I love how she just comes up and kind of says it like, look, Chandler did not murder anyone.
Yeah.
They sacrificed themselves because they loved him. Just like, ma'am.
In essence, that is kind of what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, but it,
Yeah.
just the most passive, like, look, perhaps there was extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
Like ninjas. I mean, you've all heard what
Yes.
Jodi Arias said before.
I mean, at least she put in a little effort. It wasn't good, but she put in a
Yeah.
little effort.
He was just a normal kid. He is a normal kid. So what did happen? What happened to the Haldersons? What happened in that Haldersons home? Remember those questions. They won't be answered.
What happened to the Haldersons? We just had a guy spend an hour telling us what had happened, what done happened to them.
Yeah. It's like, well, what happened then? Like you're supposed to have some reasonable explanation or defense, I should say, not explanation.
Yeah.
Some defense, like,
Yeah.
I mean, did he
This
see
is
the ninjas come in and do it? I mean, like, what happened?
yeah, contrary to what you've been told by the state,
Mhm.
there I mean, Chandler wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I mean, do they have video of him going in and out of the house? No, then it never happened.
Yeah. Oh, you mean he was already in the house? Well, shit, we didn't think about that. Hold on.
Well, shit. Look, Chandler could have just walked in and his dad was, you know, helping the mob do, their bank's taxes. So it was a terrible misunderstanding.
Yes, the cheese mob in Wisconsin is terrifying.
Yes. Just, I mean, she's probably like, "Can I just keep the mask on?"
Yeah.
Well, ma'am, you could, but it's not. It's a clown mask, and you have to take the Halloween costume off.
Well,
Damn it.
I don't want my face seen because this is
Yeah.
embarrassing. And I'm sorry that I signed up to be a public defender.
Yeah.
Can I get my name off that list as soon as possible? Thanks.
at the end of this trial. Remember those questions at the end of this trial when you have to decide whether the state has proven to you that Chandler Halderson killed his parents, because they simply don't know what happened.
Well, I don't think it was
They
like a
just
game
told-
of Jenga where you take out, you touch dad on the knee and he just topples over in many small pieces.
I was gonna say, here we go with the pieces again.
Look,
I mean, it kind of happened that way, though. To be fair,
well, yeah, but she's just over here like, well, did they have him? Was he videotaping a video for YouTube while doing this? If the stream does not exist, you must acquit.
maybe Chandler was really good at operation. Maybe this is what the problem is. It is to blame on Mattel or Hasbro or whoever, Parker Brothers or somebody, whoever did make
The Mr. Potato Head is where this all started, this SIG fascination. But this,
Told you
ma'am,
what they think happened. We heard a lot of detail of the before and a lot of detail of the after. But one or two simple sentences, and then he killed his parents.
ma'am, this is not the own you think it is.
Yeah,
Them not going into great detail about how he unalived and then, dismantled the parents.
yeah. And to be fair, I don't think they were simple sentences. I think they were compound. But it's just getting a little nitpicky.
She's like, I am here to enforce grammar, and that if you don't film yourself doing a crime, it didn't happen.
Yes.
She is working with what she's got. I understand.
Yes,
that,
and we
but-
all know it is not much. So,
Yeah, but she looks. Well, she's trying to make a point. It's just she could have stopped with make the state prove everything that they've set out in their opening statement. Keep an open mind, and we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah.
I mean, it would have been much shorter, but it would have been.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even just look at this lady's face. This lady is not buying her own bullshit.
This lady is like, oh
She's
my God,
definitely
this sounds
not.
dumber when I'm saying out loud than it did when I was writing in my head.
Yes, it's like, I am divorcing my husband. He said this shit sounded good last night.
He's like, babe, I was just trying to be supportive of all the crap that you do. And that was pretty crap, but I was being supportive.
You know
The
how you
evidence
get.
will show you that there is a gap of evidence when it comes to that time frame. And your job is to listen to this evidence as jurors. Listen to the evidence from the perspective of a juror, not from the perspective of a story corroborator.
Wait,
No. So you're saying that that presentation was all a narrative story, that we don't have the, leg of mom, back of dad, certain places. And also
yeah,
the judge can be a story corroborator. If the story is the truth, then, or
yeah.
reality, ma'am, I know you didn't want to come to work this Monday, but
But don't they also? Isn't
Corroborate.
there a rule about? I know opening statements and closing statements are basically kind of a free for all to a degree.
yeah.
But isn't there also a rule about some of the stuff that they do enter in? Like you're going to see, like, is it going to be an exhibit or not? Like, they can't just freely say that, because I've seen objections to
No.
that in other places.
Well, so I do know that I believe this particular, the state on its final rebuttal after the defense,
Yeah.
he got objected to twice because he said, well, so and so lied. So I think as long as you generally stay within the parameters, we'll
Yeah.
have to ask a real lawful law scholar like Daryl Brooks.
Yes. I'm pretty sure there's something like that where you can say like what your formed opinion is, but you can't say like, "Oh, you're gonna see him on video doing this," and like you don't have it. Like
Yeah,
you can't say that. I mean, so yeah,
true.
because then they're gonna form an opinion before they even get started.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Writing the state's story. The role of being a juror is a different role than being a person. And that may sound strange, but it is.
it is.
Well, yeah, but I don't think you divorce your personhood because that's how you get reasonable doubt of a general-minded person.
Yes. What we've learned
Okay.
today is that jurors are not people.
Well, that would explain some of the verdict we've gotten.
This is not wrong.
I think of when I went to law school way back in 1991, and there's a big part of me that feels I went into law school a human being who lived my life feeling things emotionally and relating to.
No, I'm pretty sure that was just the full sentence right there. I went into law school a human with sobriety. Like, then I have to write closings for this or openings for this a-hole and decided that alcoholism looks better.
Yes, basically, that's how that works, as I understand it.
I mean, there's better ways of. I get what she's trying to say, but it's also. But they're not human anymore, so if. Aren't humans the only ones with emotions like that we gravely convey? I don't know.
She has a bit of a conundrum there as to how to unravel that. Is like, how are they not people? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, how are they not people? I mean, they look like people. They smell like people. I mean, we could ask Chandler if they taste like people. I mean,
Oh my gosh. I mean, we feel so bad for her because, after an opening like that from the state, and it's kind of like, look, I have to defend this douche. Just make the state prove it,
yeah.
I would have just left out the whole, like, not a person argument, ma'am, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I see a question about, like, how many times the defense objected during the thing. I don't remember how many times it was, but I do distinctly remember that there was an issue, actually. There was an issue with something I think that the prosecution said during closing, and they
He
had to
said
have,
that,
like, a huge sidebar about it. I
so
thi
he was accusing, the state's attorney was accusing the defense of standing
That's
there
what it
in their
was.
closing arguments and lying.
Yes.
And generally, you can attack the argument, but you're not supposed to accuse the counsel across the way from lying unless you have absolute proof.
Yes, that's what it was. It was about it wasn't a witness line, it was they said that the defense lied. I remember because there
Yeah.
was a big hoopla about that. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, and Miss Not a Person here got really irritated, and she's like, "I did not lie." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and I think they corrected it with, like, the judge gave some direction or something, or
Oh
maybe he
yeah,
apologized or something, I don't remember. It was something
I don't
silly.
remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't. Well, Nanya, she has nothing. Have you met Chandler Halderson? He'll tell you about his life story, and he won't stop talking for 84 hours.
Yeah, about literally nothing.
Yes.
It's like, do you want something? Are you an insomniac? Because if you do, boy, do I got the thing for you to listen to.
Yeah,
Because it is,
Chandler telling his story.
yes, because it is not interesting in the slightest, and
There
he
is a
won't
reason
shut
we
up.
did not cover it. because I would have fallen dead as you would have heard me snoring.
Yes.
I would have had awake apnea.
His interrogation is just, it's him just babbling on and on and on until the police finally decide, okay, we've had enough. It's like, and then they start drilling him, and that's when he was like, I think I need an attorney. Actually, I think all he says, he doesn't quite do a gypsy where he's like, I need an attorney. He he just says attorney. I think that's all he actually says is just attorney. It's like, would you like one, or like, are you trying to profess that you're an attorney too now, in addition to working at SpaceX?
Oh my gosh.
Things emotionally. And I left law school a really different person. I learned how to be very logical, to apply facts. First to assemble
I won't
facts,
put that one up,
and
Zach, but I'll put up a
to
different one
apply
that I
these
think will be just
facts
as funny.
to the law as I learned it.
Oh, good Lord.
Facts, laws, and rules, plus logic. That's your role here as a juror. Don't assume anything.
Okay.
Is this lethal weapon?
Assumption
Is the mother of all
mistakes.
That's not the
dear
line, lady.
Jesus.
Get it right.
Assumption makes an ass out of you and me.
Yes.
Isn't that it?
That is one of them. And then I think in another one of the movies, he's like, assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups.
Well, also yes.
I mean, it's like, it's not the line. Get it right, lady.
All right, I have a different poll up. Are juries human or not?
It depends. Where are they from?
Well, we are not sure.
Because I'm starting
The
to wonder
story
about
that
Wisconsin.
you just heard
True.
assumes that Chandler Halderson killed his parents. You cannot assume
Look, it's been a while
anything.
since I read that cover to cover. I'm waiting for the
Your
sequel.
job is to presume that Chandler Halderson is innocent because he today is under the benefit of the presumption of innocence.
Sure. Sure he does.
An assumption is reaching a conclusion without knowing all the information. A presumption is a principle that we all must follow. We must presume him innocent, and we must keep that presumption.
Okay. This is freaking me out, but her hands are so tiny because she's a taller woman, you can tell, and she's built,
Like a Wisconsin
well-nourished
lady.
American, but her hands are so tiny.
I didn't notice that until you pointed that out.
But now you will. You're welcome.
Now I won't.
If I got to
notice
see
it.
this.
Unless and until the state proves every element of every charge beyond a reasonable doubt. That's not easy. It's not easy in a high-profile
listen to the
case.
Juries are
It's not easy in a case where we all know we're going to see evidence that is disturbing. But you must find a way, like I did in law school, to put your emotions, put your feelings aside.
I need to read
and
all
use
of my
the logical
comments before
part of
putting
who
up.
you are. Be a juror. Assemble the facts, know the law, and apply the law.
If it's not human, what are they supposed to be as a jury? Because you haven't said like mineral, plant, animal.
Yeah, like what are they supposed to be? I'm still waiting in eager anticipation here.
Well, you haven't told us what juries actually do, because if they're not human, I mean, what is jury Borg supposed to do?
Yeah, I'm presuming that you're going to get to the point and tell me.
Well, we had presumed that, but it just went into I was normal and then I went to law school.
So now I have to make an assumption. I'm listening. I'm hearing what you're saying.
I know what you're assuming, that I have a lot of student debt, and that's why I'm working here, and that you would be right.
Logic without letting your feelings or emotions get in the way. And for each of you, you might have a different way of doing that. But I'm asking you here today to dig deep and find out how that will work for you. So that you can
Oddly enough,
presume
if Chandler had dug deep and just buried his family, they wouldn't have found him.
I was going to say the same thing. If you would have did more than my clients and dug deep, we wouldn't be here.
Oh my gosh.
But this kid, he's an idiot. Have you seen his arms?
Have you seen his calves? He's not going to survive in jail. Don't make me send someone to jail.
Yeah, let alone a shovel.
Yamaha, I'm not putting that up, but I am giggling.
client innocent.
Yeah, the one that's yawning right now with the tiki torch and nighttime chance haircut. He actually has the female haircut in all the new Star Wars.
Burn.
May the 4th be with you.
Now,
and
I'm
also
not
with
going
you,
to have a fancy
if you're a good
PowerPoint
Catholic.
here, and I'm probably
Wait.
She's like, I didn't understand how to edit and make the pictures fly in from the side.
Oh my God.
not even going to talk very much longer.
Promises.
But as I comment to you on the evidence that you're going to see in this case, I want to highlight a couple of things. First of all, and the judge already
Baker.
indicated this in some of the preliminary instructions, lack of evidence is evidence just as much as any evidence that is presented to you in the courtroom. Look
No.
for what's missing.
His parents.
Look for alternate.
Ma'am, that's why we're all here. His parents were missing, and then we found, well, not all of the evidence, in fact, but in the actual.
Oh my God.
Again, so you're going with Chandler did not, FaceTime his girlfriend while hunting down parents. So ipso facto, they can't say with 100% proof that my client, unalived his parents.
Yeah.
And JW, we are watching, the Chandler Halderson trial. He is Kat's boyfriend from the last couple interviews that we saw with the interesting girl who was allergic to chocolate, but then ate a chocolate chip cookie. Just
Yeah. This is her lovely partner in crime, or not crime, according to the state.
Yes.
Explanations. Because the second thing I want to tell you is that evidence of one thing is not necessarily evidence of another thing.
Okay.
I mean,
One fact.
I mean, ma'am, look, I try to use that defense every time my husband's like, how much did we spend on this? I'm like, look, evidence of what was withdrawn from the credit card is not always evidence that I didn't get a whole bunch of Kohl's cash. So practically this entire thing was free. It just never, I'm going to have to show Mr. Mo this and be like, evidence and lack of evidence are not a thing.
They do not prove anything. You have to presume that.
Listen, Look,
like there's nothing.
evidence that I might have spent more on wigs fails to take in effect that they were 35% off. And I really feel like I should be complimented for not spending as much as I could have.
I mean, it sounds logical.
It does. Oh, but he's still a person. I have to have him become a juror, then he'd
Yes.
buy it.
Yeah, you need him to be a juror first.
Damn it. I knew I was missing one step. How they get me.
Here could mean a different fact here, but it also could mean 3 or 4 other facts. So you have to avoid jumping to conclusions.
Oh my God. Is she going to do the MAT? We call it the jump to conclusion map. Oh my God.
No, she's
Well,
just
you know
gonna
what?
cut
She's
to the
done.
chase.
She's made me think of Office Space, and if I'm a juror, I might like it.
Yeah.
And really dig deep and look at what this all means. You're going to notice that many of the facts, many of the witnesses aren't going to be hotly contested by the defense in this case.
Very good.
And that goes back to what I was just saying.
Unlike the fireplace.
12, 18, 100 reasonable people can look at a certain situation and form a different conclusion.
Okay, ma'am, I'm just going to throw this out to you, but you show 10, 12, 133 people that opening, they're not going to think different things.
No, they're not. And I mean, the only conclusions that I have heard from people is whether or not he took a nibble or not. Like those are the only conclusions that I have heard.
I don't know. He almost looks like he should have, because it looks like he's anemic.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. Especially for being a
And when
Wisconsin.
you're talking about a system where you need to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, you better make very sure that you're excluding all of the other things that these facts could mean.
Okay.
Because you just aren't.
Human.
I would die laughing if there was a video of the jury room and they went in and they said, all right, how many of the 4,684 of us think we don't see a homicide here? And everyone else is just like, no, we're pretty sure.
Yeah. It would be interesting to be inside of some jury rooms. This one in
Yes.
particular would have been enjoyable.
Yeah. And
'Cause-
none of the jury members have come out with a book. I mean, y'all know that if I am on a high profile or even a low profile case, I am coming out with a tell-all book and I'm hawking and grifting that thing all over LawTube.
Yes. I mean, it's what a good court reporter would do, or clerk.
Well, yeah. I mean, I take only lessons of self-enrichment from those in government, so
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure.
If they do it, it's okay.
I am running for president, so I need to learn these skills.
Yes. Just take as much as you can. I think that's the skill.
That is true.
Aren't going to know what happened. You're going to know some about the before. You're going to know some about the after. But you're not going to know what happened in the Haldersons' home, who did it, what happened, how it went down, whether it was intentional or not, which is an element of homicide. You're just not going to know.
Okay, so I love that they're trying to sell this new theory that Chandler walks in on some sort of mob hit and, well, instead of saying, hey, my parents were attacked by not me, he decides to chop them?
Yeah, and just dispose of them. Like, I don't know. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I mean, I'm sure he and Jody would get along great, but yeah, that's a very interesting theory that she
You're
is
also going to not
floating.
know how Bart and Krista would have reacted to these lies.
Hello, Wyatt Earp.
That's never.
Okay. Well, they didn't get a chance to react to them because Chandler unalived them. So that does seem like a pretty, like, look, we don't know if the dead guys would even care if he was lying. I mean, they never, said it out in their will that if our son happens to be low lives.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't say anything, so everything was cool.
Oh my God.
And what are you talking about, dude? It's like, oh my God.
Oh my Lord. Oh, well, I'm glad that they were able to get back to their house and they didn't lose any animals. And I'm sorry that the damage was
Oh no.
worse to the mothers and oh, okay. And well, I'm glad none of the animals, and hopefully they're things that can be easily fixed. If you do live close to kind of where all of these things happens, most of the time you've got good things, that places that will work with insurance and things like that.
Was this one of the like natural disasters recently? I'm assuming.
I think it was the flooding.
Oh, okay. That sucks.
Never going to be explained to you why lying turns into murder or how lying turns into murder. Be sure to look for what you're not told, because that's evidence just as much as any evidence is.
All right. So in order for us to charge someone guilty, we would have to know every single, I guess, the pattern of every single death. Pretty sure she's defending other people that they don't know, like, exactly when the unaliving thing happens. If this is her approach to every trial.
Yeah, I mean, she is a defense attorney, so I mean, I guess it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense, but it's like, it's like, well, that's not true though, right? Like, I'm pretty sure people get prosecuted literally all the time when they don't know how exactly something happened. Like, actually,
Like
I could think of a few cases, some in Wisconsin, in fact.
Yeah. It's like, Your Honor, Daryl Brooks was only convicted because they had video footage of him doing all the things. I mean,
Yeah.
if they didn't have that video footage, anyone could have done it.
Yes. I mean, it was an SUV after all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to ask you to resist some things in this case as jurors.
The
Oh
truth.
no, ma'am. No one's attracted to Chandler. We will have none of that basic instinct thing happening. We can all resist.
Would they even notice if he did?
Yeah.
It's like, is he trying to
We
seduce
already
me?
talked a little bit about proof beyond a reasonable doubt. What that means is you must resist guessing. You must resist speculation.
So did Chandler.
You must resist storytelling. And only convict when it's proven, or if it's proven, which it won't be, beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to ask you to resist losing your objectivity. Objectivity may be hard for people in this case because of the graphic nature of what you've just been told or what you're going to see. But you need to resist losing that objectivity. Commit to being jurors. dispassionate, logical. Don't be swayed by fear.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of him.
And I ask you to resist any pressure you might feel to convict Mr. Halderson of murder in this case.
Okay.
It's a little unorthodox, but I'm going to tell you.
You mean like the pressure of being able to understand and follow patterns and facts and come to a conclusion?
Yeah. It's like, what exactly are you asking? I mean, that might have been something that he could have objected on just out of principle and be like, wait a second.
And then there's one person in the jury room that's like, resist. I am going to resist. That's what took more than 30 minutes because they were like, I'll resist thinking. And have I resisted enough? All right, good. We're done. But we'd still like to have lunch before we have to go back out there.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause it did not take them very long.
Well, yeah, I know. Who'd have thunk with all of this lack of evidence that we have?
Yes. The amazing lack of evidence that there is. It did not take them very long to discover that there was a lack of evidence in this case.
Yeah, the one thing the jury didn't send back was, we are confused about the lack of evidence in this case.
Yes.
Where is that non-evidence, the evidence of the void that we were supposed to get? Will the void be coming back to us for lunch or?
Yes. I mean, like, I could think of a couple juror questions they could have asked and be like, I'm not sure. I'm still confused. Am I a person or am I not?
I get what she was trying to say, but she just said it so terribly that it will live in infamy.
Yeah. It's like, I just don't understand.
We have wondered that too, but I think she takes pity on small things. I don't know. Or she thought Chandler was very smart, so she just has terrible discernment.
Yeah. That's an interesting question that somebody else will have to answer.
I don't have the letters by my name or the time to figure that one out.
Yeah.
At the end of this case, Attorney
Captain
Vera
Kern may have the answer, though.
May stand before you here and say, you know what?
But there's lack of evidence, there's lack of evidence. So, that could mean it's also true and it's also not.
Yes, two things can be true at the same time. Like, you are a person, you're not a person. I mean, it's all very confusing.
They did convict him of this. But what evidence do you have of murder?
Murder.
Well, generally alive people don't let you dismember them and put them headfirst into a fire.
True.
I mean, I know I'm jumping to conclusions here, but I haven't.
I mean, we're going to bring in an expert. We're going to bring in Bartholomew. And see what he says.
Yeah.
I like to talk about the Constitution, probably because I'm a defense lawyer.
And
but
that's all I got.
As jurors, as people coming into the system who aren't dealing with this every day, like we are here in the courtroom, you have to remember how important the Constitution is, how important the presumption of innocence is for Mr. Halderson, and how important proof beyond a reasonable doubt is. It's the highest standard we have. And it was created and perseveres to this day for this very reason. When someone is on trial for the most serious crime possible.
I'm not sure this is what Thomas Jefferson had in mind.
Yeah, Ben Franklin's like, you know what? We should probably put something in that Constitution. So if this really skinny, weird looking, kind of effeminate looking dude unlives his parents, yeah, he better get the presumption of innocence.
Yeah. not only unalives them, but then cuts them into pieces, burns them in a fireplace, and then distributes them across the I would say great state, but across the state of Wisconsin.
The founding fathers were like, what is a Wisconsin?
Yeah, exactly. Virginia, maybe. Wisconsin,
Like,
no.
a Yankee? Well, we might presume that a Yankee would do that. This is just what. Maybe this is just her standard, like, I don't have a chance in hell speech. And she said it so much that she can kind of get through it without giggling
Yeah.
versus us.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably what this is. And again, like in a way, I genuinely feel bad for these lawyers and their assistant over there. Like they've got nothing, but they have to do their job. And it's like I understand this is literally the only thing that you got is the presumption of innocence and maintaining like, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like
But just say that instead of, well, you can't be people.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
was
like
human once and then I joined the law.
yeah, it's a little I don't know. It doesn't come across right. I mean, especially the way that she's phrasing it definitely doesn't come across right.
It's a lot of that's the first thing the jury's gonna do when they get into that little room. Did that bitch say we weren't people?
Yeah. Well, at least she didn't refer to us as those people. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
And
Lord.
every little thing they do, every little lie they might have told.
Oh, okay, ma'am, look, like me and the government lie to each other when I say I'm the weight that I lied about on my driver's license. That lie doesn't hurt anyone but the EMT that's going to think, gosh, she's only $110 by her driver's license. Like, we'll be good with this. I'm like, bring more people. Don't lift with your back. This dude made up an entire fantasy world, I'm just...
yeah. He is definitely not living in reality.
Just teeny tiny, ticky tacky little white lies, that he just happened to say about his entire life.
Yeah.
Is blown up and thrown against someone. That's when proof beyond a reasonable doubt matters. You jurors, not the sheriff's department, not Mr. Brown or Ms. Raymond or me or the judge get to decide this case. Individually, you all get a vote. You all get to make your own decision. I simply ask that you remember your role as jurors, that you find a way to stay objective, that you look for the key questions, the key facts that aren't answered, and that you hold the government to this high burden of proof. If you do those things, if you can resist these things, you will reach the right conclusion. Chandler Halderson did not murder his parents.
Bravo.
Bravo. She said it with a straight face. I'll give her props because holy pizzoli.
I wouldn't have been able to.
Well, I mean, she said it without giggling and without, getting struck by lightning. So either she's wearing rubber-soled shoes or she's convinced herself of this.
Yeah.
Oh, dear Lord. Why, ma'am. Okay, let's see. Where is... I'm trying to think.
Oh, that's the cabin.
Where we got the... Oh yeah, this is where.
The cabin video.
Oh yes. So this. Let me. No, I want this.
Picking things up,
Okay.
anything.
So we are
Oh, this is the
going to
brother.
watch the brother in the world. Oh, this is talking.
Of any jurors. That's an important part of our protection and our honoring your participation.
No, not the mouth smack. Oh Lord.
As citizens, unwillingly, although I hope willingly, through this process. It was pointed out to me that if I do at any point in time invite you to go ahead and stand and stretch, that if you turn around in that process towards the media window, you might inadvertently be photographed or recorded. And so I just wanted to mention that to you so that if you're doing that at any point in time, or even if you're deciding your neck is stiff and you're going to.
Well, to be fair, at least he warns them that they're going to, be video cameraed. Unlike all the trials that Law and Crime and Court TV seem to just show the jury.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah. Which I think this was one. This is the one that started the whole thing with Nick, because Law and Crime, of course.
Oh yeah.
Was the one in the providing the media pool. And it's like, but the judge had an order where it wasn't like, it's not like there was only one person allowed in the camera, so like everybody else could use it, like, and it was in an order. And they tried doing all that stuff, so that's where all that came from, if anyone remembers that.
Oh yes.
Which is where the wonderful nickname came from.
Yes. Nick doesn't hold back when he's really irritated with you, and I like that. You just know where you stand. Like,
yeah. Or in this case, sit.
Well, or in this case, watch.
Yeah, sit in the corner and watch.
Just aim your head in a different direction. Be cautious about the fact that over your left shoulders there's a camera on the other side of the wall, and they're certainly doing their best to not accidentally record anyone.
I get it. That is why Judge has the curly Q. He knew that this was going to be televised about 4 months back, and he's like, his wife's like, aren't you going to tell them to trim that up? He's like, no, I have a plan.
I'm gonna be on TV, honey.
And she's like,
but they're also
relying
on
how to
your
tie
position.
a bow tie.
Oh, are we saying that's a clip-on?
Well, I'm just saying he probably wore ties before. He wanted to be different.
It's like JJ from Coco Melon. Oh, God. Oh, Coco Melon is a demonic force that's taken over. The demonic force that was Baby Shark was going away. We had hosed it with enough holy water and shame, and then Coco Melon came about.
Oh Lord.
Just terrible.
Within the courtroom as they're filming other things that go on. So I just wanted to mention that to you folks. Thank
my
you.
condolences.
Let's proceed
Quid pro
with
quo.
testimony. Attorney Raymond.
Yes, the state's going to call Mitchell Halderson to the stand.
All right. So just for everyone, Mitchell is Chandler's older brother, and he and his girlfriend were, well, or his wife now, were roped into going to go check the cabin, things like that. And Chandler's lie basically kind of destroyed everyone's life. Yeah. And you get to hear that from, Mitch's wife now and different things, that this wasn't, an easy choice or an easy road for them. And thank you, Sarah. And that went to Justin Smith. But it really does put a more human face on the suffering, because his wife basically said, like, any kids that we have, any grandkids, any other people that come into our lives, as we work and become a couple, they're not going to get those parents to have, as grandparents. And that was really sad. But he's also just the brother of Chandler and the son of Krista and Bart.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Oh God, the masks. I hate the masks. Especially if you wore glasses and then they fog all up.
Mr. Halderson, if you are able to safely and responsibly, I would appreciate your testifying without a mask, if you could.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
I do believe in following with my theory that all guys who have a goatee are good at IT. This brother actually works in intelligence technology or whatever it is, internet technology. I don't know. Anywho, he has a goatee. He'll probably be able to tell you why PowerPoints doesn't work. That's all. Look, I profile. I do.
I don't think anybody can tell you why PowerPoint doesn't work,
Well,
to be fair.
operator error mostly with mine, but these are the kind people like him that work in IT. I have rescued them by never working in an actual office because I'm pretty sure they would have just fired me. Like, okay, ma'am, what is wrong with your computer? I don't even understand what's going on. I need you to come over here and work my computer because it is possessed by Satan. Ma'am, you just have to push the power button. Nope. Oh, hell no.
Start is where everything started. That's where the problems began.
Or he'll ask, like, have you tried opening and closing a problem or, the site? And I'd be like, I don't even know how to do that. Like, quite honestly, I didn't even think I was going to get hired here. So
It's funny.
So everything that you assume people already know about computers, assume I don't.
Yeah. I get that.
So I have saved so many IT people from descents into alcoholism by not being. I've just made Mr. Mo have to deal with me.
Yes, as my family's resident IT person, I get that.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record and spell both your first and last name?
My name is Mitchell Halderson, and that's Mitchel.
I will say that that's a deeper voice than I would have pegged for this general look. I was expecting something in more a tenor range. Sorry, Mitch.
I mean, just never mind. We were talking about law and C, and now we're talking about pegging.
LL, and then Halderson is HAL, D as in David, ERSON.
What are the names of your parents, Mitchell?
Bart and Krista Halderson.
And do you have any siblings?
I do.
And who's your
I
sibling?
did.
Chandler Halderson.
Where'd you grow up?
Was born in this area in Dane County, and then between 3rd and 4th grade moved up to Plymouth, Wisconsin, which is in Sheboygan County, and then have lived around here for college and work after high school.
Okay.
The only other response after you hear Sheboygan is, did you buy one of the traveling polka bands, from John Candy fame in Home Alone? We're big in Sheboygan. Listen, Sheboygan. Have you ever seen John Candy?
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked.
Okay. I can't unsee this, and now you won't be able to, but Daniel Radcliffe really played this character really well. The adult Harry Potter. If it doesn't say Wingardium Leviosa, I'm just gonna lose my mind.
So is then Chandler the one that shall not be named?
Chandler is one of the extras that he didn't get brought back for movie 2, so he's all bitter.
Sounds about right.
Daniel Radcliffe now has enough fame that he could make fun of J.K. Rowling. I mean, then he had to move to Wisconsin because her solicitor sued the hell out of him.
As Exhibit 27. Could you describe Exhibit 27, please?
That would be a picture of my parents, actually a crop photo that I am also in. We are at the New Glarus Brewery.
Okay. And that was a somewhat recent, in the last couple of years photo?
Yes, within the last 4, I forget exactly.
Okay. And is that an accurate copy
Ooh,
of that?
what was that?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know.
Exhibit 27.
I was going to ask you. I was
Any
like,
objection?
No objection.
It may be published.
wasn't
Maybe that prosecutor finally let it go.
that's why he is making that face like, oh my God, should I acknowledge the fart? Should I just like pretend it didn't happen? I don't know. Just kind of dealing with my parents unaliving, but maybe.
So how old was your dad, if you know, in July of this year?
He was born in 71, so in July he just turned 50.
And your mom, she was a few years older?
Correct, about 3.
What did your dad do for a living?
He was an accountant.
Do you remember the name of the firm that he worked with last?
Yeah, BDO USA.
And he did taxes and things like that, or?
Yes, specifically with small businesses. That's his specialty.
So is he kind of a money savvy sort of person?
I would say so. Definitely had finances, understood them well.
Do you believe in banks?
Yeah.
How old was your mom?
My mom was 53.
Did he believe in banks? I mean, what? Why was that a question? I mean, unless it's like he had a bunch of gold bars and silver bars, but according to Fonnie Willis's dad, distrust of banks only correlates along certain lines. And wait, where is she going with this?
Yeah. As someone who used to work at a bank, yeah, don't trust him.
No, he listens to Alex Jones.
And the black helicopters.
And even his face is like, does he believe in banks? What the this was not discussed when we were doing my deposition. Belief or lack thereof in banks wasn't even something we talked about.
Did he apply? Did he help people apply for that COVID money for small businesses? It's like, ma'am, I thought my brother was on trial.
They're like, Harry, you should have known. I'm a Death Eater. He's like, God dang it. I got out of the horror game. I tried to go just into IT. Tried to get like the simple life because I wanted to have children. Now I try to leave the game, but they just won't let me leave. He's like, okay, Quidditch, bitches. I'm going to be the seeker. Oh, God. I am mostly sober when I come up with all this stuff, which is terrifying.
Mostly.
What'd your mom do for a living?
Was a stay-at-home mom for us growing up
Herbologry.
and has recently gone back to work as a receptionist at a car company.
Describe what was your dad like as a parent, just very briefly.
He worked a lot, so slightly absent during the time, but I would say had good expectations for us and overall was a good parent.
How would you describe your mom as a parent, just briefly?
A bit of the typical helicopter parent, very involved in our everyday lives, but again, because she cared.
Okay. So she stayed in communication with you often? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Well, I found this tracking device on my back of my neck once. And then my mom said she just had me chipped when I was down and out, so she could always find me.
That he looks like he works for Facebook. I
I
was
can't
gonna
stop
go with
seeing him
Meta.
saying Expelliarmus. So I'm still stuck on Harry Potter.
He blinks and moves too much to be an android like Zuck.
Yeah, true. But maybe he's like their one beard human. Like they have to have something where it's like, no, we aren't all lizard people here. In the interest of diversity and inclusion, brought in a human.
He's like the Morpheus. He lets you choose.
What
Yes.
is the age
I know, it
difference
really
between
is.
you and your brother Chandler?
18 months.
And are you the older or younger sibling?
I am the older.
And just for the record, I think the judge is going to ask everyone but the jury to remove their mask for a few seconds. Do you see your brother Chandler Halderson in the courtroom today?
If everyone could lower their masks briefly, and after 1, 2, 3, replace your masks. Thank you.
Welcome,
do.
Aussie 12.
Could you please describe by where he's seated and what sort of, maybe the color of his shirt?
Table to the right with a purple shirt and a suit.
I'm the good brother. I'm also doing calf raises. Well, also take your masks down. I mean, for the love of all that is holy, you understand that if this were real protective equipment, you touching your face and touching the mask, unhands gloved, would have already broken that. Swear to God, the ridiculous kabuki theater we engaged in for years.
Kabuki theater.
But ask the record to reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
It shall.
He recognizes
So
his
Mitchell,
brother.
if you're 18 months older, are you 24 or 25?
I just turned 25.
Okay. And in July of 2021, where were you working and what did you do?
I work at Epic Systems, and I am a technical services representative.
A computer guy.
See,
Sure, yes.
I effing told you guys. See, you doubt the power of the IT goatee, but that man is smiling right now because he realized he was good with computers.
Yeah. And not only that, this poor man, he said he was a field rep. So he has to go into the field and deal with people.
Oh, God.
He doesn't even get to
Mitch,
get there on the phone.
You might have lost your parents, but you'll never have to deal with me on a computer. I'll save that for Mr. Mo. So, I can do you very few favors, but you won't have to deal with me on IT support.
Okay. And are you married, single, something else?
Engaged,
Engaged. Okay. And how long have you been engaged?
a little over a year.
Okay. And you live in the Dane County area?
Yes,
In a house, a condo, something else?
in a house.
Okay. And just briefly, in June of this last year, 2021, you had a significant health episode. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. What occurred?
I went to the doctor for a regular scheduled appointment since I hadn't gone during COVID and wanted to get blood work done, and I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
And in fact, you were hospitalized.
That is odd for him to be that old and diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. I mean, the fact that he didn't show any symptoms while he was younger, it must have been very mild.
Yeah.
Because if Krista was a a helicopter parent, you start saying you are dizzy, drinking a lot, and all this
Yeah.
other thing. She would have had like WebMD picked up, and you are either pregnant, dying of cancer, or you have diabetes, and we're going to figure it out, you and me. Hey, listen,
Yes.
every time you use WebMD, you are either pregnant or dying.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've discovered that I was pregnant is just astounding.
Every time it tells me that, I'm like, shut up.
Exactly. I'm like,
Or I'll tell
okay.
Mr. Mo, look, I'm either pregnant or I'm dying. He's like, can we pick none of the above?
And I have yet to pick up a pregnancy test to prove that I'm not. So I could very
Well,
well be.
if you do ever happen to pee on one as a joke and it comes up positive, that means you have something wrong. You might have cancer. So go actually to a hospital if you are shooting positive
Good to know.
as a
See?
guy.
I would not have known that. See? There you go.
The weird
Everyone
things that
learns
I
something.
know, like everyone else is like, okay, interesting. And how do you know that? I don't know how I remember I know that, but I know it.
That's interesting.
Hospitalized for a period of time.
Yes, that is true.
Was your mom or dad, did they seem concerned to you at all?
Yes,
You kind of laughed there. Why'd you laugh?
my mom was overly concerned.
How did she express that?
Not as much to me, trying to not show me that, but I have heard later on that she called her best friend many times crying.
Okay.
No, Jung, I think it's prostate cancer, but the hormone that I guess they pick up is the same hormone. Look, it's the same hormone that you get for a pregnancy test. And I think it's because one of my friends' husbands, to be stupid, okay, acquaintances, but he peed on it just to be joking. And he's like, well, how am I pregnant? And I guess that there's something is wrong in the parts of either your adrenal system or your prostate. And if your body starts to make that hormone as a dude, then you're kind of screwed and you need to get it taken care of.
So you're saying that a $4 over the test counter can prevent someone from getting a finger up the bum, is what you're saying.
Oh
As
my
a
God,
joke.
Veilhammer, talk to me after this. We've got a marketing idea.
it's a new
Because I think that there might be a market open to being on a stick instead of getting, a goosing every so often.
an oil check. Oh, interesting.
Oh, see, I was right. I did. Thank you, JJ Henry, for agreeing with me, but also that I wasn't the only one, that had watched something semi-asleep at 3 a.m.
And retained
then
it,
was
which is impressive.
yeah. Only fan pea sticks. Oh my God. Mo and Vale's home pregnancy test for men. It might sell current
Home
year.
prostate test.
No, we've got it. The only way we're going to get all sorts of BlackRock money if we call it a home pregnancy test for new women.
True. And we can put on the box that it has a side effect of being
It'd be
able
the
to
one thing
identify.
that putting Dylan's face on would probably sell more of it.
Oh, we could put Chandler's face on it. He can't sue us for copyright infringement.
True.
I mean, I can.
Growing up and moving into recently, what sorts of things did you and your brother Chandler do?
Since we didn't live in the same house, we would do things online, like play video games and just talk that way.
Okay. What sort of video games did you play?
Wide array, but Generally, first-person shooter games.
Okay. And did your brother have a favorite weapon or gun in these games?
Usually those of Russian descent.
Okay, like the SKS?
That's correct.
And in fact, during your illness, your brother gave you a gift. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
What did he give you?
Ooh.
A unknown type of
I had heard that, so oddly enough, there's a medication that's fairly out of stock everywhere. And my doctor said, "Have you checked on Amazon?" And I was like,
Yep.
I've not ever gone to Amazon for anything but snacks after.
Yeah.
But okay.
They have a whole pharmaceutical thing now. Like you can actually get your insurance and doctor to send them the prescriptions and everything, and the stuff is super cheap through there. So a little tip for anybody:
Oh,
go to Amazon Pharmacy. For
I'll
real, like
definitely
it's a
have to.
legit thing.
I'll have to look because I mean, Wegovy's been just out of stock everywhere for the last 6 months.
Yeah, and they even have it so if you don't have insurance and stuff too, like you can still do it through there, and it's not expensive.
Ah,
Like, I mean, it's obviously
well,
more expensive than if you have insurance, but it's less than you would pay at like a Walgreens or CVS or a Walmart or
that's really
whatever.
cool.
Yeah. Though, and I would assume it's because they're obviously a massive distributor. So,
Yeah, there you go. I have, oh my gosh. Well,
yeah.
maybe I'll be buying that to show my, toaster feet to someone who gives two rats A's that it's happening, and that'll be awesome.
I did not know they had a medical thing. That's interesting.
That is good to know. Because look, I'm just saying I'm on Amazon more than I want to talk to my doctor, so probably be the only way.
Can I order
to-
a doctor?
Can I order a medical degree?
of bullet with the words "get well soon" on it.
Why does he always seem like he's getting ready to? Maybe it's the way I'm watching the video, but he always looks like he's getting ready to try to smile a little bit. And
Mhm.
if you're right, then he does go, he works in customer service. It might just be that habit of trying to smile all that
Mhm.
time because he does look like when he's not sure and he knows he probably shouldn't be smiling. So he just kind of does that little quirk.
Yeah.
How would you describe Exhibit 26?
That is the same one.
That's the bullet that your brother gave you and wrote to get well on?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Chandler gave his brother as a get well gift a bullet?
Yes, that says "get well soon."
Jesus Christ.
Yes. I'm sorry you have diabetes. Here's a bullet.
But
I mean,
I don't. Maybe
was
it's
it
a
like,
guy thing.
I mean, so they have like bottle openers and stuff, but like they've obviously been deprimed and like drained of all
Okay,
the
yeah.
stuff. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, so they have stuff like that because like you can get them, like I said, in bottle openers, keychains, all kinds of stuff. Like when
Well, but
when
we have to remember that Chandler is poor, so he's probably giving him a bullet that Smithy gave him.
well, yeah. Well, had that
And it's
happened yet
probably a
though?
live one.
Yeah, well, probably. I mean, like when I'm an army brat, so like when I was little, I had found like a little necklace because I thought it was cool or whatever that had like a little 9mm on it. Well, I had went into work with my dad one day or whatever. One of the dudes saw it and comes back and gives me like a 50 cal that's been deprimed and drained. It's like I don't think that you could put that on a necklace. I mean, he drilled holes in it, so you could, but it's like, yeah.
Like, sorry. Well, I mean, I guess Chandler's doesn't do feelings well, because I'm guessing he would have got his, if he had to choose a Hallmark card, it'd be like, I'm sorry for the future hard times you're gonna have.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and it was ghetto too, because like they said that he wrote on it. Like you can literally get that stuff engraved online for like next to nothing. It's like
He's like, not that this is gonna mean much to you, but I'm using this same, ammo
same
for something else soon.
yeah.
Or he probably was like, can I have that weapon or the bullet back? I mean, I kind of lent it to you and I need it back.
Yeah.
For the love of all that is holy.
Move Exhibit 26 into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
It is received. It may be published.
I don't think the overhead is gonna do justice, but it just says get well. I want to turn your attention to when your parents went missing this year. How did you learn that your parents were potentially missing?
I don't remember the exact date, but I did receive a call from my mom's best friend that had let me know that they had gone up, she had heard that they had gone up to the cabin.
Okay,
So I did not suspect them missing at that time. I just had heard that.
okay. And what is your mom's best friend's name?
That would be Jane Hilgendorf.
Okay. So you get a call, and in fact, you call her Aunt Jane.
I do.
Okay. So you get a call from your Aunt Jane. What do you do, if anything, in response to that call?
I don't
Well, no,
recall the
not
exact
what, if
events, but I did
anything.
not think much of it because they would be known to go up to the cabin during
And
the summer.
let's talk about that. So your parents own a cabin.
Correct.
Where is that cabin?
Langlade County, Wisconsin.
Okay. And how would you describe that cabin?
My grandpa had built it, so it was mostly wood logs, pretty run-of-the-mill, what you would think of as a rustic cabin.
Okay. Is it on waterfront, in the forest, something else?
Yes, it is on Sawyer Lake, Wisconsin.
Is there any other outbuildings associated with this cabin, such as a shed or a boathouse or anything like that?
Both of those. There is a shed out in the front, a boathouse in the back, and a in shambles treehouse in the front yard as well.
Okay. And did your parents own a boat of any sort?
I believe so. There was definitely a canoe. I don't believe there was a full boat, or at least not that I remember.
And nothing like a pontoon or a ski boat or something?
Nothing with a motor that I'm remembering.
How often do you believe your parents went to the cabin?
They would at least open and close it every year and go probably 1 or 2 more times in addition to that, so 3 or 4 times a year over the summer.
Okay. And what were your parents' habits about keeping in touch or not keeping in touch with you in connection when they went to the cabin?
My mom would reach out any chance she could, so she would have told me.
Did your parents tell you in the last week of June or the very beginning of July any idea that they may be going to the cabin?
No.
So you first hear from your Aunt Jane. What is the next thing that happens that you remember in concerning your parents being missing?
The next thing I remember is Chandler texting me that he is worried about them.
Okay. What, if anything, did you do in response?
How did Chandler keep all of his phones? He's like, wait, no, I can't text him on mom's phone. And this burner phone, he's not going to know who it is. So I guess I'll use my regular phone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kept them separated by. I mean, he wrapped at least one of them in aluminum foil, so he knew
Oh,
that one
God.
was mom's.
That wouldn't it be a bitch if you wrap the wrong one and you're doing all your brother texting with mom's phone, and he's like, no, mom just texted me a bunch of shit, and Chandler's like, shit.
Yeah. Or he's texting Kat. Can we get on Snapchat, baby?
Oh God, and it's from the dad's phone.
She's like, oh, Mr. Halderson.
This is weird, and look, I'm
I'm not opposed, but Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen your calves and your sons. God.
Response.
Asked more about why and just to hear what they had told him about leaving, because I didn't hear anything about it.
And what did you learn from Chandler?
That they had gone up north with friends, that he didn't know who those friends were, and didn't know the car that they had taken.
Okay. What was your understanding of friends that may go to the cabin with your parents?
There is a list of people that I would have assumed. Do you want me to go through that list?
Sure.
That would be my Aunt Jane, Uncle Mike, also Dan and Mary Sesto, who lived on the same street, as well as Gail and Rick Kanapaki, who you might also hear from. And I had reached out to each one of those families and had heard back that none of them were the ones that had gone up north.
Did you have any understanding about who would drive when your parents went to the cabin?
Unless it was one of those three, I would assume that they would drive because they're the ones that know the way. And there are certain folks, notably Dan Sesto, that goes up there often enough that I would understand driving, but nobody else.
Okay. What happens next as far as you're concerned with your parents? What's the next piece of news you learn?
Eventually, a detective comes to my house, Rich Bennett, in order to just ask some more questions of me during the investigation. I believe that was the next thing that had occurred.
Okay. What happened after that?
I believe it was Wednesday. It was whatever day Chandler was originally arrested. I had actually gone up to the cabin myself in order to check it out, just to see what was going on.
And why did you go to the cabin?
Wanted to do something myself about it. I felt like I needed to do something.
So at this point on Wednesday or whatever day you ended up going to the cabin, were you fairly concerned?
Yes.
Okay. And what led you to being so concerned?
Not having heard from them, not being able to get a hold of them, and not being told that they had gone up there to begin with.
So during this time period that you
Okay. If my parents decide to go someplace and they don't tell me, that's kind of normal. I've never lived in a family that's like, hey, we're going to go like on a day trip. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
I've been like, that's weird. Say something from an old Judith Light movie. Let me know you're not being, kidnapped.
Yeah.
It's so out of character.
It would, yeah, if it was like a day trip, yeah. But like, I guess if it was like a longer thing, like I'm sure I would be notified. Like, hey, I'm
Yeah,
going out of
but
town or whatever.
you're out of their house. You're a full adult. The fact that I don't know where my mom is right now, I'm sure she's, probably at home, but I don't have a detailed itinerary list. It's just weird
Yeah.
to me. I mean, it's normal in their family culture. It's just weird to me because I'm like, are you a Fed? Like my son calls and says, where are you? I'm like, you're not my supervisor. Are you a Fed?
I can see you saying that actually.
I know I would say that. Be like, why are you trying to ask? And I'd make up something incredibly crude or odd sounding in case I was on speakerphone.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely be like notified or whatever because like, I mean, I live quite a ways away from family and stuff. So it's like, I mean, I've been running a fever for days. And she even checked on me to make sure I was okay because I'm 14 hours away. So,
Aww.
But
moms are fun. See,
they are.
well,
like,
I mean, they can be.
Yeah, like I mean, but I live alone, right? And I'm 14 hours away, so it's like
that is true.
Yeah. It's a little different, like
yeah. No, but this one where his mom probably called him once a day just to chat. Mr. Mo has that with his family, his mom. They like just chat. So,
Yeah.
And I'll probably end on this and we'll come back again since Mr. Mo has decided to start mowing the grass right in front of my window.
Yeah.
He's like, are you on a stream? I'll just go
pouring here.
But so the funniest thing that my oldest daughter ever said to me, she's like, hey, Mom, I have a question. And I'm like, okay, yeah, what? And she said, if I don't call you every day like Mr. Mo does to his mom, will you be upset with me? And I'm like, shit, no, honey. That's way too much talking together. You just text me you're still alive every week. She's like, yeah, because I wasn't going to do that. All right, that's good. Because I was like, no, we don't.
That's funny.
But I love that
You're
my
funny.
daughter thought to ask, like, hey, Mom, like I'll try to do it if it means stuff. And I'm like, no, that is way too much talking on the phone. Text me.
Yeah. You're funny.
And on that note, we will be coming back next week to finish up with Mitch, Chandler's brother. I mean, or as we like to say, American Harry Potter.
The IT guy.
The IT guy. If he hasn't worked at a Best Buy at some point,
You mean worked
I'll
on the
eat.
Geek Squad?
No, I'm just not the Geek Squad. I'm just like in Best Buy. If there is someone there that doesn't have a goatee, I'm like, huh, why are you here? You could be at a Home No Goods or something else. I don't trust you.
That's funny. And I'm glad we got the pasty conversation wrapped up before the end because I was getting a little concerned. And Wealth Lady discovered what pasties are in America. So there you go.
Come to join us next week on Legal Shenanigans, where we find out if a sausage roll really means what they think it means.
It all depends on your perspective.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I don't have you being sent anywhere, so you are all free to choose your own destinies because you are not jurors, you're human. So on that note, goodbye.
See you guys.